the music finish. I had to let the music finish. Good morning, y'all. Look, this is basically my time slot. Like, nobody else has this time slot. So I'm about to run this shit, right? Good morning, good morning. I stopped the shitstorm, okay? Had to end, had to die. Y'all niggas still out there. It's fine. It's cool. That's what this is for. That's what this is for. It's going to be the second episode. First episode, I showed you what I got. Second episode, a little more. By the third episode, I should be up and running, but I want to have some fun today. Lee, good to see you in the chat. Welcome to the show. That's the door I managed. That I imagined when I built my internal altar. Hey, man, look. This is the thing. Most of y'all at the door. Look, I get it. I get it. Just getting to the door is a lot. A lot. Y'all ain't hit the shore yet. Y'all ain't hit the shore yet. This is what I'm talking about. But it's cool. I want to get motherfuckers up over the hump, through the door, into the woods. Okay? Love it. This is wonderful. Society. EJ's good to see you in the chat. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Guidepost, y'all. If you are unfamiliar with me for some reason, my name is Bookman. I'm the host of the show, the Duke of Darkness, the Bane of the Left-Hand Path, King of America, Morpheus of Metaphysics. Come. The Ganon of Gaming. I like that one. I just got that one. And the cartographer of consciousness, my friends. I'm here today to talk about something I want to chew on. An angle of approach I want to take. Because, 100 years ago, I couldn't give you some of the analogies, explanations, and maps, I guess you will, that I can give you today that 5,000 years they couldn't have. So I want to talk about it, especially because there's a large untapped group of motherfuckers who just out here and don't even really get what this is. They got the Jesus trauma. They think it's spookism, and then they feel like it's ridiculous. Cool. But I want to go through some of this shit today because this is my thing. Okay, I think the analogy of a video game is exceptional. Okay, computers, coding, technology, our relationships with him, because it's not. Metaphysics is philosophy. Metaphysics is philosophy. Hold on a second. I can talk about this shit all day. Give me 2 seconds. Matter of fact, give me about 53. Give me about 53 seconds. I worked on that forever. Love it. Had to put it in there, guys. If you don't know, this is the Guidepost. Welcome. You probably don't know because I didn't say it, right? I'm getting into it. This is the Guidepost. Guidance on Godhood. What the fuck is Godhood? Well, you know what? You tell me. Look, okay? Because y'all got a lot to say. Niggas got a whole bunch of ideas, opinions, and they're really sensitive about it, and it's cool because I get it. All right? But maybe you're not sensitive about it. Maybe you don't know. Maybe you don't even know if you give a fuck. Actually, those are the motherfuckers I'm actually interested in. Okay? I don't even know if I give a fuck. What are you talking about? What the fuck is spirituality? I see all these motherfuckers talking this, that, this, and the third, right? What the fuck is it? Well, cool. I'll say it like this. Bruh, if you get games, if you get gaming, if you get computers, if you get technology, I got you. I'm going to show you. And look, you ain't got to follow me. As a matter of fact, You come in and go out. Okay, cool. Go on your way. I want to set you up for success. All right. If you need intimate help with it, we do that differently. In general, the guidepost, this is to set you up for success. Guidance on godhood. If you don't get what godhood is, cool. Put it to the side for a second. Today, what I want to talk about is what the fuck is spirituality? What the fuck does it mean for something to be spiritual? Okay. Thank you. I worked hard on the intro. If you don't know where that movie's from, it's from The Life of Pi. The book is actually astounding too. Great book. I really would recommend it. Anyways, getting into day. Okay. I want to talk about what spirituality is. I want to use some analogies and metaphors from the world of technology and video games. But before I do that, this isn't an ad. Before I do that, I want to look at some other people in the world who on YouTube, on YouTube, who, if you looked up what I just said, what I'm going to talk about, what they would be saying. Okay? The message, not the messenger. So I want to go over what they would say and why that's not what I'm saying. Okay? I have two examples. One example is awful. It's not awful because the messenger is awful. It's the message, okay? The second example, considerably closer. Considerably closer, but the nuances is what's going to make the difference. The third example is going to be me, what I'm going to be telling you about. As a matter of fact, I'll introduce you to the Bookman model. It's a cosmological model, because this is the thing. This is why a cosmological model is important, and I'll talk more about it when we get to it, but why it makes a difference at all is because your cosmological model, whether or not you examine it or not, is how you fit yourself to the world. If you do not feel that you fit to the world in which you exist, everything looks like chaos. Everything looks like a trap. Everything looks like prison walls. Everything looks like an enemy. Not to say whether or not it is or isn't. That's up to you. You do what you do. But the difference, I would say, is the center. You know, many of the people who aren't really sure on spirituality, they do have a lot of materialist scientific knowledge, and it's not useless. But I want to put all that into context, what this stuff means, because niggas will talk out the side of their neck, because anybody can say whatever the fuck they want to say. Don't get started, please don't get started. But what we are going to get started on is looking at some examples, okay? That looks beautiful. I saw this in a collection of clips. Put it together. This looks beautiful. If you don't know what you're looking at, fuck it, it's cool. We'll talk about it one of these days. It's going to be here. Anyways, let's continue, guys. Let's continue. This is what I want to show you, okay? Let me shut my dumb ass up.
Spiritual soul in the building. Gazer. Nature soul in the building, man. Simple. Make sure I ain't got shit on my beard. Gazer in the building. Now check this out, man. So I'm gonna tell y'all this. Life is literally a video game. Now, y'all heard me say this plenty of times. It's like we live in a fucking disc, bro. Literally. I know a lot of y'all motherfuckers don't think that the earth is flat, etc. Okay, that's a distraction. The earth round or flat, that's really a distraction, because none of us is gonna find out. The only ones that can find out is the ones that could go within astral travel, really see this shit with their own two eyes. But if you are into history, if you are into the Bibles and all this different shit, you know the earth is flat, bro. It's in your Bible, right in your face. But you believe science. Scientists is ran. Them are the demons. Them the ones that run this world. If you control space, you control the world. If you control the media, you control the world. You could put on the news whatever you want. Anything you want. You could feed us anything you want. You could tell us there's gonna be some aliens come to this bitch. You could tell us it's gonna be all type of flying saucers. You could tell us everything, but you the only one that can go up there and see what's up there. We can't. So we just got to sit back and go with what you tell us, right? So we see them doing all these fake clouds. We see them doing all the chemtrails, the fake weather. Weather is fake. Modified weather. Modified.
All right. Okay, cool. That was a guy named Spiritual Soul. Just to be clear, once again, this is Message, not the Messenger. This video came up on my YouTube feed, and it was as I'd been talking about it with some of the people in the guild during one of our sessions. And the microphones were listening, so something like this popped up on YouTube. So I didn't go on an in-depth search on this guy. Like I don't know what else he talks about. I saw this video. I want to talk about the message in this video. Whether or not he's a cool, good, bad, I don't really know. That's why I put his information up there, so you can go check it out yourself, right? I don't know. I mean, to be honest, though, I like the nigga's shirt, right? I dig the vibe. I dig the vibe, okay? But I can't say facts. Okay? I'll start with where I would say, okay, cool. All right? Life is a video game. That was about it so far. We haven't actually got to his point proper, but from what we've heard so far, that's what I'll agree with. Let's go through some of the rest of it. The idea of flat Earth. The initial question and then the answer that the whole question itself is a distraction. That comes from out of Brother Panic's camp. And there's a lot of people who are coming up on flat Earth. Now, look, if you are someone whose cosmological model is that of Christianity, of the Bible, even if you say I don't believe in the Bible, even if you say I don't go to church, if I told you to start dividing up the cosmos and map it out for me, and you'd say things like heaven, angels, demons, hell, you would be invoking the cosmological model of Christianity. People who say things, he said things like astral travel. If you're saying things like astral travel, you're invoking the cosmological model of the Theosophical Society. All right, that's it's a European society. Okay. See, this is the thing. It's easy to say whatever the fuck you want to say, and that's why things like this happen. But it's not to say, because once again, I can feel the heat from the fire in the dude. So I'm not fuck him. Not the messenger. It's the message. Okay. Life is a video game. I'll fuck with you on that. We'll get into it. I'm gonna keep rolling with you. I'm gonna let you listen to the rest of his argument on this because I don't like to misrepresent people. I don't want to show you their whole video. I'd rather you go and watch the whole video for yourself. I'm just going to show you the part that's relevant. I don't want to cut it up too much, try to let it go. Anyways, shut the fuck up. You'll hear go within a lot. We're going to get into that, okay? We're going to get into that. I'm not going to tell you I agree with his methodology on what the fuck that means, but we're going to get into that. And this is the last thing right here before I let his argument go. You'll hear a lot of people in the flat Earth. I'll just say community for lack of a better term, to be honest. You'll hear a lot of them say things like, we no one can really see, and we have to take your word for it. Now, this is the thing that really gripes me, okay? You don't have to take anybody's word for whether or not the planet is a sphere or flat. Homo sapiens have known this for hundreds of thousands of years. There are literally experiments you can do yourself. Okay, so I'm not with homie on the idea that the planet is flat in any respect. I will say that Earth is flat. The planet is named after the idea of Earth. It is a metaphysical concept. Just like the orange is named after the color it is. Or if I had a king and I named him king. Okay, the planet is named Earth. Earth is a metaphysical concept. That is flat. That is flat, not the planet. We'll continue because he has some interesting arguments. I want to talk about it, and I want to talk about where I think he's hitting it, but where I want to extend the idea, because I think it's a bit short-sighted, but only because of the premises of thinking. Okay, because a lot of people, when they explain the spirituality stuff, they do it in an emotional, feely, floofy, floffy way. And we're not gonna do that shit. We're not gonna do that shit. All right, here we go. Let me shut the fuck up, though, right?
So let me tell you this. Life is a video game. In this world, nothing matters but you. You the main character. Now, you can go on about your life. You got a health bar. Just like on a video game, if you keep getting hit, your health continues to go down. If you keep being stressed and depressed and hate yourself, your vibration, your health continues to go down. When your health get low enough, you damn near your shit blinking. Right? When your vibration is low, you in recovery mode. You can't protect yourself from these bad forces out here. You are vulnerable. You get hit a few times, you're capable of dying. You further away from yourself than what you could be. You're not strong. You're not at your full power. You get what I'm saying? Like a video game. In a video game, you got that health bar. You keep getting hit, you will die. You keep getting shot, you will die. It's the same thing in this matrix. Your vibration. If you keep doing stuff, eating bad food, your health go down. You keep watching distractions, keep watching fake news. You keep looking at all these fake tragedies, all this different shit. Your vibration continues to go down. So now you just in recovery mode. You don't know what to do. You always stressed, you never happy. You did it to yourself. Like a video game, you got side characters. In this world, you choose who you want to talk to. You ain't got to communicate with nobody. You can focus on yourself, but you choose to go talk to these people. You choose to go to the club. On video games, you got side characters. You could choose to do the side missions. You don't have to. You don't have to. You choose to. Right? On video games, you got side missions. You know them ain't the real missions, but you could choose to help these people on the side missions. That's just like in the real life. You choose to be friends with these people. So now when you do side missions, now you gotta suffer the consequences. You don't know what's gonna happen. You might lower your vibration even more. When you on video games, you do side missions, you don't know what they getting you into. You just helping them. In real life, you communicating with all these people. They are side missions. They side characters. They don't matter. You don't have to communicate with them. You choose to. So if you come across somebody that's a bad person, your vibration, your health gonna go down. This is what I'm telling you. So you communicating with bad people, bad influences. You in a club, you partying, you drinking, you doing all this stuff. Your vibration, your health bar is continuously going down. It would never stop going down, right? So let me tell you this. If on a video game, when you start to follow your path, when you start to follow your true path, you tunnel vision. You keeping that straight path. You just trying to beat this game. You don't have no side characters. You're not getting interrupted by side missions. You're not getting interrupted by side characters, family, all the distractions. You doing everything to get these superpowers. Your health bar, your level is going up. The more and more your health bar, the more and more your vibration, the more your level goes up, the more you stick to your path, the more superpowers you unlock, right? It's just like real life, bro. The more you keep going on and focusing on yourself, focusing on your purpose, being happy, taking care of yourself, the more you raise your consciousness, unlocking these superpowers. Just like video games, the more you getting further and further towards your journey, get ready to beat the game, you unlocking more superpowers, right? Life is a fucking video game. Stay focused. Do not get caught up in these side missions. All these side characters trying to distract you. Don't get caught up in these side missions. Life is a fucking video game. Stay focused. Keep your vibration high. Don't let these people take your health away. Keep your vibration high. Raise your level of consciousness. Unlock your superpowers. Unconditional love, true happiness, manifestation, astro traveling. You can do anything. You can fly. You can do anything you want. This is not the real world. This is a video game. Anyway, man, take care of yourself. Love y'all. Spiritual Soul signing out.
All right, Spiritual Soul. Okay. Like I said, man, message not the messenger. I dig the dude's vibe. Although you know how I feel about motherfuckers doing videos in cars. So, yeah. Look, if you don't know how I feel about motherfuckers doing videos in cars, I I generally look at it as a motherfucker doing the video in this little private place that's separate from your whole life, like real life. Like every now and then you'll hear motherfuckers make this little distinction between the spiritual stuff and real life. And it's like the spiritual stuff is the real life. We're gonna get into that though. First and foremost, guys, superpowers. Mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. And I'm gonna tell you why. And I'm gonna tell you why you're not gonna get no superpowers. I'm gonna tell you why you're not gonna get no superpowers. Um, God damn it. How do I say this? How do I say this to where? Because I have to hit the nail on the head. I can go around the bush, and I don't want to go around the bush. I want to hit the nail on the head. You're not getting superpowers because whatever you define as a power that's super is only super based on your premises of thinking. So let's say it like this. If I'm in Super Mario, right? I'm in Super Mario, and if I can eat a fire flower and make fireballs, right? And that's just common in my world. It's not a superpower. It's only a superpower when it's not common in the world. So look, this is what you want to do. What you really want to do is learn to do things that aren't common in the world. Now that's understandable, okay? Superpowers? We're gonna have to pull it back a little bit, guys. Look, and this is the thing. See, I'm a metaphysician. What a lot of people who say the word metaphysics don't realize is that metaphysics is a branch of philosophy. Okay? And I like to try and dig into the ontology and epistemology of things people are saying in order to pull out the cosmological map they're using. Not because it's right or wrong, but because usually most people aren't even aware of their own cosmological map. You know, usually you don't think about how a thing works until it doesn't work appropriately for you. Until it's not working right. Like you don't care about how the electricity in the wall works until it's not working. Right? Then you got to go on YouTube and you actually start to learn how it works, right? Anyways, yeah, you're not getting superpowers. I'm not talking to you about superpowers. I'm not talking to you about anything that's going to make you superhuman. I think that's ridiculous. Okay, so if you think spirituality is about unlocking superpowers, superhuman powers specifically, that's wrong. Now, if superpowers for you are not synonymous with superhuman powers, okay, maybe I can taste the nuance. Okay, but that's the first thing: superhuman powers, superpowers. Second thing, and this is part of the reason I think that his delivery, maybe it's just the delivery, that could be me. This is one video. I think his delivery is a bit short-sighted, and this is part of the reason why. But it's a good example you want to watch out for. Using things like good and bad as tools to frame reality or an explanation. Like they're really good for talking to children, for explaining to children how new things work. And you know, maybe, like I said, this is one video, so maybe that's his whole thing, is just to get people off of the ground floor, and I can accept that. So that's why I brought it up, and it's, once again, message, not the messenger. The other thing, because you're gonna hear this a lot, your vibration. Once again, it could be just another novice technique to introduce novices. But I think it's detrimental in the conversation at large, and I'll tell you why later. But for now, keep this in mind. Look, bro, this ain't about atoms. This ain't about atoms. When I say life is like a video game, when I agree with this dude when I say life is like a video game, it's not about some special configuration of atoms. Particles, no waves, no quantum quizzle-a-choo-joo-joo. No, it's none of those things. But we will get into that, okay? But so when you hear people say vibration, I don't fuck with that, okay? I'm not going to tell you to vibrate higher. I'm not going to tell you it's your vibration. Because usually it's usually a different codification for be a good human. Okay, I'm not a humanist. I'm not a humanist. Okay, I'm not here for the telling you about human is a lie. That's what I'm gonna tell you first and foremost. Okay, well, what else am I gonna be, bro? Hold on, slow down, chill out. I'm not telling you what you're supposed to be. Slow down, listen to me, get the argument here. Okay, the reason I don't tell you about vibration because most people who say that don't actually understand Western science, physics, quantum physics. Like anyone who acts like they understand quantum physics don't understand quantum physics. Bruh, what's vibrating? And they ask them, what's vibrating? What is it? The atoms, the cells, the molecules, the energy is vibrating? Bruh, do you even hear yourself? Because they don't know what the words mean, right? The energy is vibrating. In medicine, they have a term, acute, extreme acute, right? But this is the thing. For something to be extreme acute, like extreme and acute are the same word. They're basically synonymous. So you're just saying extra, extra. What do you mean the energy is vibrating? That doesn't make any sense. But look, ain't nothing vibrating, okay? Ain't nothing vibrating. All right, vibration has nothing to do with particles. Vibration is a threefold pattern. All right, you start somewhere, up, return, down, return. That vibration is as simple as that. It has nothing to do with particles, okay? What I'm talking to you about is not about upgrading particles. And this is the main idea about why I wanted to show his video, is because this is the other side of what I'm saying is short-sighted, because his entire matrix of ideas here is only really extending to life in the game, if this were the case, okay? And I'm not interested in life in the game, okay? I'm interested in the user. I don't care about the particles. I don't care about the avatar. I don't care about the narrative in the game. I'm interested in the user, in that world. Now, right away, before you fall into some Cartesian duality, no, there's no two worlds thing here. Oh, it's this and this, higher and lower, above and below. All of your duality is going to confuse you. No, please let me continue. Stop. Don't do that. Because I want to do it, but I'm not going to do it. I want to do it, but I'm not going to do it. Because you're not going to learn that way. He said NPCs. He said side quests. I'm going to come back to it. I do believe that these exist. I do not like the way he framed the idea. Why? Because like I said, it's only extended to life in the game. And if that's the glass ceiling on top of the matrix of ideas, the explanatory capacity of that matrix can only go so far. So I want to be able to take this as far as I can, which is why I'm having the whole idea, okay? So follow me, okay? This is where we're at, because I don't want to discredit everything he's saying. Message, not the messenger, okay? Main character, okay, cool. We'll get back into that. The path, we'll get back into that. Once again, I agree that these things exist. I don't agree about how he's explaining it. But I think it's just because there's more to the story, all right? Cosmological models, my friends. Cosmological models. I'm being a bit, I don't know. Anyways, all right, let's continue. This is an example from a different creator, specifically about the game that I want to use to try and explain this more often, Skyrim. Sit back, enjoy. Yeah, let's do this thing.
Skyrim is a computer game that I have been playing on and off since the day it was released, on the 11th of November 2011. It is a fairly typical adventure game where you, the lone protagonist, must kill all the baddies, explore all the dungeons in the ancient ruins, slay all the dragons, etc, etc. There are a few helpful souls who will come along for the ride occasionally, but the vast majority of folk you meet have very little to contribute besides a few lines of dialogue and a bit of window dressing. The famous NPC. The game is very dated in its graphics and its mechanics, and if you don't use a bit of imagination, the limitations of this virtual world quickly become apparent. But, forgiven its quirks, Skyrim can be an engrossing experience indeed.
As you can see, my amateur editing, I forgot to take my audio out of the back, but hopefully you can still hear it. This is a guy who goes by my frequencies. Sadly enough, I only saw this one video on his channel. I did not find more because I was like, okay, like this is considerably adjacent to what I would be talking about. Because usually I like to, before I say some shit, I like to see if anyone else has already said it, because why waste my time? Maybe they said it better than me and I can just say, hey, go look at him. But this is considerably adjacent to what I want to talk about. In the first video, the guy referred to NPCs and side quests as distractions. Okay. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case. Some people could, like maybe if you're doing a speed run, okay, maybe, and then even no, because you got to go to certain NPCs to get to, no, they're not out of the way. Side quests and NPCs are not out of the way. They're essential. But this is a gamer debate, right? We want to have the anime debate about filler. Okay. No, but this guy, hopefully you can hear it appropriately because I forgot to take out my audio. Wait, no, can you just play shit from YouTube? Can you do that? You're gonna find out. Because I want you to be able to hear him. And then why the fuck not, right? Let me do what the fuck I want to do. Here, because I'll come back to this. Because I want you all to hear his take on it. Because I'm not the end all be all of shit. Here, I'll let y'all look at my history on YouTube. I don't care. Where was it? I saw this. This was hilarious to me. Sorry. Side note. The Upanishads. Pure Vedic spirituality. Translated in English. Get the fuck out of here. Pure Vedic spirituality. Then why is it translated in English? New sugar-free gum with added sugar. Shut the fuck up. I hate people. 508,000 views. When did I watch this? I did not watch it that long ago. My apologies. I should have just edited the sound out of that, but now I'm going to be irritated about it. There it is. All right, my frequencies. Come here, my friend. Where did I want to pick this back up? Here. Okay. Let me set this up so you can hear. PogChamp? Of course, saying good to see you in the chat. I don't know what a PogChamp is. PogChamp. Maybe it's a mix of Poliwag and Machamp. There's a Pokemon Fusion ROM game you can play online. I think they have like different iterations as well. You can fuse Pokemon together. It's ridiculous. Anyway, let me continue. Excuse me.
Program. Imitating the real-world environment, perhaps, or some fantastic... Imitating the visually... All computer programs are made from code. A game is just a very visually appealing computer program, imitating the real-world environment, perhaps, or some fantastic reimagining of it. The same source code that animates my illusory foes is the same code which generates the water and the trees, the same code which generates my avatar in the game. This code was created by unknown beings in a higher dimension for a purpose unbeknownst to a humble medieval warrior just trying to keep his feet dry and find a set of armour that fits properly. To us, the game player, we understand that the programmers designed and built all of this just for us, for our experience and our enjoyment. Even the harsh weather conditions and apparently fearsome foes are there to be enjoyed. Indeed, no true harm can ever come to us, sat comfortably on our beds or sofas outside of the dimension of the game. It is our projected avatar which undertakes these epic journeys.
Listen, I'm not gonna rip his whole video. There's one other part I want to talk about, but once again, I highly suggest go looking at their own video, which is why I give you their name. I even showed you his his YouTube. Even though this is the only video I saw, he didn't have other ones. But speaking to a few of the things he's talking about, first and foremost, because I know it's creeping up in your head, you're thinking simulation theory, right? You're thinking that's my angle, aren't you? I'm not. Maybe holographic universe, not simulation theory. And this is why I wanted to show this video specifically, because this one is tailoring. Well, maybe that's just my perception, because I wanted to find other videos and he didn't have them. So I had to go off this video and my experience with that. But for me, this video is pushing towards simulation theory. I'm not a big fan of simulation theory. This is why, like I said, very adjacent to what I want to say, okay? So, first of all, getting simulation theory out of the way. Second, I want to hold on to this. I want to hold on to two things he said because they intimately correspond with the Bookman model. The Bookman model is the cosmological model that I'm going to be talking about. Move this over here so I can see it better. One thing he was talking about, first of all, is that everything in the video game is generated by code. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The avatar and the world around it is generated by code. Okay, where is what I want to do here? There it is. I wonder if that was too. That was pretty loud, wasn't it? Oh, a piece of shit. Okay. I'm gonna zoom out. Of course I can zoom out. All right. This is one of the black books. Okay. The black books are a series of atlases, if you will. They're a collection of maps describing a particular topic. This one is talking about the cosmological model I present. Let me get to the page I want to get to because I'm gonna go through it a little bit later. Here's the page I want. Boom. Okay. This is a dynamic I want you to keep in mind, okay? This dynamic is one I want you to keep in mind. The relationship between atmosphere and agent. If you listen to a gentleman named John Vervaeke, he describes it as an agent and arena relationship. This is what I'm talking about. The code, okay? That relationship that the avatar has with the game world. They're both inextricably, that's the word I wanted. They're both inextricably connected, okay? Agent and atmosphere. I want you to keep that dynamic in mind because that's what he's pointing to there when he's talking about how everything in that world is not only made of code, but it's more so that it's all of one substance, okay? That's crucial. The other one that makes what he's saying adjacent to what I'm going to be talking about is his emphasis of the user. And the position of the user being the difference between the game avatar and the position of the user being an issue of dimension. Some people like to think of dimensions as these places out here. That's not what dimensions are, okay? Okay. A point has no dimensions. A line has one dimension. A square has two dimensions. A cube has three dimensions. We've gone nowhere. Dimensions aren't places. It's a discussion of the extent and scope of perception. It's a discussion of the extent and scope of perception. You will hear a lot of people say dimension this and dimension that. I'm not going to say dimension isn't a valid word, but they have no idea how it works. They've just basically replicated their conception of what heaven was as dimension and then just went to town. Anyways, this inextricable connection between agent and atmosphere, that's what he's talking about, as well as, where is it? I'm using a different PDF viewer than I usually use. That's why I'm looking for something, whereas generally I would not have to look for it. I'd see it on the side. Wait, I can see the pages as thumbnail. Okay, yeah. New operating system, new PDF viewer. Anyways, excuse me. Where did I have the example in here? I didn't put this one in the new map. I didn't put this one in the new model. See, no excuses. I update my models on a consistent basis, but I have to update all the file formats I updated it in, which is where I slipped up on that. Anyways, continuing. Here it is. This is where it is. This is the black book on shadow work. And this is the page I was looking for. Don't that beat all? Okay. The user. The user. Of course, saying peace. PogChamp is a Twitch emote for excitement and hype. Oh, man. I want to know what the emote looks like. I'm going to have to look that up later. PogChamp. Here, let's zoom in a little more. Make sure you can see those words properly, okay? Okay, because my interest is the dynamics and the user. How did I just fumble that? Did y'all see me fumble that? Okay, here we go. My interest is the user and the dynamics involved. Okay, so this is why his reference of the user and the pointing out the difference in their relationship being an issue of dimension. And so this goes into the cosmological model I'm going to be talking about at the end. But I wanted to give you an example of one of the maps. Again, like I said, the black books are atlases. An atlas is a collection of maps. I am a cartographer of consciousness, ladies and gentlemen. And most people don't realize the things they're looking at are maps. They just think, you know, hey, spooky, cool looking thing. Do I have that page in here? I don't. It was in the Bookman model. But anyway, I'll talk about it later. But that's one of the things I want to point to. My emphasis is on the user. When you're talking about what is spirituality, we're talking about the user. Okay? When you're asking what is spirituality, the object of that subject is the user. When you're talking about spirituality, the object of that subject, the agent of that atmosphere, is the user. Okay? That's the focus of what we're talking about when we're talking about spirituality. This is part of the reason I thought that spiritual souls was a bit short-sighted, because it didn't center itself in the user. Okay? Because look, bro, anyone who's played Skyrim, I don't give a fuck if the troll is coming. I don't give a fuck if this nigga's losing health. I'm about to slash and slash and slash, and it's gonna be him or me. Mostly because I don't have to feel that nigga's pain. But for real though, when you playing like you the nigga in the game, bro, you gonna get a job at the end. You gonna get a job at the end. You gonna play for the bar. You gonna get you 10 gold a day, have a mead, and rent a room. You're not gonna go get a sword, nigga. A sword on your 10 gold a day salary? Nah, bro. How you gonna eat? See, if you play the game as if you're in the world and of it, you're going to get a job at the end. And finally, you're going to think you done come up where old dude, the blacksmith across the street, lets you make an iron dagger. Oh, shit, I done came up. I'm an apprentice now. In the world, but not of it. That's the user. That's spirituality. This is what we're talking about. That's why it has nothing to do with atoms. Atoms are a result of the code. Atoms are a result of the code. And for good measure, quantum is the space between code. Fuck. It's like if you're doing object-oriented programming, okay? Not necessarily the original object. That's more of a medium. But once you have objects on the medium, the difference between the objects, so to speak, that's quantum. But once again, all that shit is down. That's the effect of what the user does. Well, that's not even the effect. That's the result of the effect. Okay, that's the manifestation of the effect. I want to talk about the user. I don't care if the physical world is a hologram. I want to talk about the light and the projector. Fuck what hologram. Oh, it's a hologram. Oh, I don't care. I don't care. Okay, cool. You're right. I'd agree with you. But let's talk about the light and the projector. Continuing. Because I think this guy's really adjacent to what I really want to talk about. Let me get into this.
Interesting question. Is an atheist one who disbelieves due to a lack of our true potential as trans-dimensional beings? To become truly a free agent acting in the world and a robot? To connect with the higher self is to become one with it, to access more of our true differently, to say the least. I'm not saying I think I'm a robot though, quite the opposite in fact. To act always on one's self-generated impulses, that is the so-called NPC behaviour. That is what it means to be a part of the simulation and a robot. To connect with the higher self is to become one with it, to access more of our true potential as trans-dimensional beings, to become truly a free agent acting in the world. This line of reasoning raises an interesting question. Is an atheist one who disbelieves due to a lack of empirical evidence in higher selves holding controllers in higher dimensions? Is that atheist incapable then of becoming a protagonist in their own story, limited to forever being an NPC? I believe not. Even the most devout atheist could be acting under full supervision of their higher self, they're just unaware of it. A supra-dimensional creator consciousness is no more concerned with being recognised and accepted by its individuated mind-bound selves than I am with being recognised by my Skyrim avatar.
Okay. Because you might have missed what he said. But it cannot go unheard again. I have to point this out because this is the crux of why I think that what he's saying is exceedingly adjacent to what I want to talk about. But before that, he mentioned higher self, okay? Me, I'm not a fan of the idea. I'm not a fan of the idea because I think it begs for resolution within the idea of a duality, higher and lower, up and down, left and right, back and forth. You're going to get confused. That's why I don't like higher and lower self. But when he's saying higher self, what he means is what I mean when I'm saying the user. Okay? The user. Not the hardware, not the software. The user. Okay? A superdimensional creator consciousness. The user. Once again, it's not once again. It's only once again if you watch. Shut up. The user. I'm not talking about some infinite oneness and okay, if I'm saying everything is one, that's the original object in object-oriented programming. That's the original object. That's the medium. If you're talking about the matrix, that's likened to the construct, the completely blank white room they go into. It's a medium. I'm not talking about the medium. All right? I'm talking about the user. Not the world of the user specifically, although I do want to get into that. The user. Not the not the, super dimensional creator consciousness. Super dimensional. What do we mean by super dimensional? One super is likened to hyper. Okay. One step above super would be meta. Okay. Once again, when he says higher self, he means what I think he means what I mean when I say user. And so I'm telling you user, okay? I like super dimensional specifically because the emphasis on the difference of dimensionality, excuse me. A super dimensional creator consciousness, the user, is no more concerned with being recognized and accepted by its individuated, mind-bound selves. Said differently, the user of the game is not concerned with being recognized and accepted by a playthrough avatar in one save file. That is what he's saying. The user is not something that's deeply reaching out to the game avatar to be accepted and acknowledged and worshipped, unless you play The Sims. Okay, so the same way that, you're not going to Walmart and expecting people to recognize you as your Skyrim avatar, okay? When I'm talking about your endeavor on a spiritual journey, it's to begin to maybe know yourself, connect with, or transcend the user. Okay, so when we're talking about spirituality, the object of that subject is the user. Okay, so his emphasis on the user is why I say it's exceedingly adjacent to what I'm talking about. But like I said, I think, and I would encourage you to watch the whole video. I think he's pushing more towards simulation theory, and I don't like simulation theory because I think it begs for an infinite regress. I think it's just one step too far. I think it's like okay, I'm stepping all the way up to the cliff. But one more step, infinite regress. I mean, come on, that's infinite regress. And that's why I don't like simulation theory, okay? I prefer hologram, but all that's game shit, okay? All that's in the game. I don't give a fuck about that. What is spirituality? The user, okay? And the thing about Skyrim is a single player game. Excuse me. That's one design of a cosmological order. Maybe your perception of a cosmological order is more like a MMO, a massive multiplayer online video game. Right? Maybe your cosmological model that you're perceiving yourself is more of that type of model. Okay, and we can have a debate about it. We can have a debate about the nature of NPCs. We could. See, that's metaphysics. Not saying spooky words with a science thing on it. God damn it. The nature and character of the user, the how, the why, the what, the when, the where of the user. That is spirituality. That's the dynamic. That's the analogy. Okay? But now, because I hope that's palatable, because we're going to take it a step further, okay? Where I would like to go. But I want to show you something first. Wait, let me let him finish. Where else did he go on this? No, I think I did, we heard that on there. I just edited it differently. Okay, this is what I want to do here. I'm going to pull back up one of the maps that I was using, right? Here we go. Let me pull back up the map. There it is. Now, this map down here with the graph and the two infinity symbols, okay? What we're looking at are the geometric shape we're looking at, I think, are called parabolas, if my memory serves me. These are parabolas, okay? What we're seeing, I use my mouse, not my fucking finger. What we're seeing right here, between the lines, between the purple and the blue, between the red and the blue, this is a parallel relationship, okay? Now, on the two dimensions of this graph, as you'll know, in basic geometry, these lines can move infinitely far on that plane and never intersect, okay? What does that mean? Nothing in the user's world or anything of the user beyond his awareness is ever in the game. Nothing of the user's world or the user is ever in the game. So when we're talking spirituality, the object of the subject is the user. Nothing of the user, aside from the light of his awareness, of its awareness, is in the game. Okay? I don't care what kind of game you say it is. I don't care what MMO single player, first person shooter, strategy game. I don't care. I actually do like Warcraft. I never got into World of Warcraft, but I do like Warcraft. None of the user is in the game. Okay? That's the distinction I want to make there. Excuse me. But infinity, because I think this can be confusing. Okay? I want to give you a visual representation of what this intersection on a higher dimension than this flat plane would look like. That's why I put the infinity symbols there, because yes, they never touch, but then how do they? Yes, they never touch, but then how do they? Come. That's why I wanted to show the other part of the video. All right, let's continue.
By adjusting the angles at the colored axes, we can derive similar pictures for order 5 symmetry, order 6 symmetry, and so on for all higher orders. Notice that as the order of the symmetry increases, the colored axes of the dodecahedron grow very short and move far away. Finally, in the limit, the red, green, and blue axes have receded to infinity. The resulting figure is called a rhombic dodecahedron. The 6 colored axes have been transformed into 6 vertices at infinity. To better understand the geometry of this shape, we add transparent walls to one copy of the figure and rotate hyperbolic space around its center. As the vertices at infinity pass behind our eye, we see interesting patterns. From inside the rhombic dodecahedron, the link has become infinitely far away, so that light can never reach it. This is the picture of the complement of the Borromean rings. We have succeeded in bending light so that it continues forever without hitting the link.
When I show you the map, and I say that these points, these lines, intersect beyond infinity, This is what I'm talking about. Most of the time, people think of infinity as just oneness. And that's not completely inaccurate. But I prefer to look at it this way. It's infinitely many. There are infinitely many infinities. Because think about the nature of what we're talking about. If it's infinity, it has the infinite capacity to contain infinitely many infinities. What we're seeing in that video is when you take the vertices of the space and you push them to infinity, so to speak, or beyond the bounds of the dimension or the plane of existence that you're viewing from. When you push them beyond the bounds of the plane, it creates a container. It's like the difference between Euclidean geometry, and hyperbolic geometry. Okay, the red Euclidean geometry, hyperbolic geometry with the blue, and I don't even have the word for it. Because I'm not a mathematician. But see, this is what I'm saying. These smart nerd niggas who don't get spirituality are mathematicians. Help some of these niggas figure some of this out. Hey, look, because I don't know all the shit, but I'm telling you, cosmological model, okay? Basic cosmological model. Let's talk about what the fuck am I talking about? Okay, cosmological model. No, y'all niggas ain't ready for that. Y'all niggas ain't ready for that. You don't even know where we're at. Let me pull back up the cosmological model. This one. I'm gonna walk you through it. And this is available at the Gilded. I didn't put the link in. I'm gonna put the link in there after. If you don't know, you can just check one of the other videos. The link is there. I'm just a little bit lazy and not perfect. Anyways, the Bookman model, all right? It's a cosmological model. Why would you need a cosmological? What? Oh, I can do this. I just realized I can do this. I'm sorry. I just realized I can do this. All right, let me, why would you need a cosmological model? What's the point, right? Who says my cosmological model isn't already correct? You know what? I won't deny you that, but this is what I'll say. This is the purpose or the reason you're going to want one. The cosmological model in your life answers these three questions. Inescapably, you need these three questions answered in your life. When you do not have an answer to these three questions, you are in chaos. You are untethered from the heavens. There is no continuity between the idea of what you are and the rest of what you perceive as existence. When you don't have an answer for these three questions, there's no continuity between the idea of what yourself is and the rest of the world. There is no continuity, no dynamic that you know of between that object and subject that you perceive, okay? Let's do a basic example. If you're a Christian, how do they answer these three questions? Okay, what is reality at large? Well, I know that God created the heavens and the earth, did that shit in 7 days. And there's a hell, so I guess the world at large is heaven, hell, and the earth. Okay, cool. Answer the first question. What is the self in context of that reality? This goes back to that agent and atmosphere relationship that's inextricable, okay? What is the self in context of that reality? So reality we just talked about, what's the self in context of it? Well, you got heaven, well, they got God and angels. You got hell, that's got the devil and demons. And you got earth, that's got humans. Boom. What is the narrative or continuity between the two? So I got reality at large. I got the self within the context of that reality. Now, what is the narrative that connects all that, that makes the difference, that literally makes the difference? Okay? What is the narrative? Well, God made all this stuff a long time ago. Then here come the devil. He's as bad. So he'd have kicked him out. But then Adam was bad too. Because Eve was talking that shit, eating that apple. And now we sit here. Cool. I don't even care what... See, this is saying, I don't care what the answers are for your questions. The point is that you have answers. And if you don't, the result of it is what I like to call nihilistic narcissism. It's part of the reason I showed Spiritual Souls video first, because I think when you go down that route, and the reason it becomes so short-sighted and naive is the result of the nihilistic narcissism. Follow me. This isn't a slight. This is an analysis. This is what I mean, because I've been this. Where you run into this thing where everything you've known before comes into question. You know, you hit some new understanding, revelation. You notice something new about the world, yourself, how things work. And it puts everything you know in question. And most people's general response, and you'll see this a lot, especially the flat earthers, is to say, everything I've been told is a lie. All these things are demons. They're not true. There's a big conspiracy to keep me distracted from the truth, kind of shit, okay? And what they're doing, and they don't realize it, is they're desperately trying to find answers to these questions. But because they don't know these are the holes they're trying to fill, and they're feeling their way through it, they'll put damn near anything, especially if it feels good. So you get the Gnostic cults where everyone's like, it's really Sophia and the Archons, and everything you think is a lie. You get the flat earthers, where it's like, the only reason we know the earth is round is because you told us. No, that's because the only reason you knew the things you knew is because you waited for someone to tell you, and you weren't sure about how to do research. But that's okay. A lot of us go through the school trauma. What's the school trauma? What we know as schools, especially in the Western world, are an artifact of colonialism. You separate the parent from the child, miseducate the child, and then reintroduce the child back to the peasant or slave community, the lower class community, and that helps to convert the whole population of them. I think a good example of that is, if not just regular history, a movie called Rabbit Proof Fences. Yeah, that's what you want to look up. If you like the cinematic version of it, or you can just look at history, Western world. Anyways, you need answers to these three questions. These three questions and their answers are what nest you into reality as you perceive it. These three questions and these three answers are what nest you, what fit you, tether you to reality, to the heavens. It gives you it tells you what yourself is, it tells you what the world is, and it tells you what the continuity is between the two. Okay? It gives you the subject, it gives you the object, it gives you the subject, and it gives you the dynamic. Okay? Because the dynamic is the meaning. All right, this is what happens with the nihilistic narcissism, okay? When you run up against this thing where everything you thought you knew comes into question, what that is you lose the capacity to find the relevance in things, to find the meaning of things, because everything's meaning was based on the things you thought before, but that just got shattered. And so what you've lost is your capacity to create meaning, to find relevance. But that's not even the thing. This is what people do as a result of that, quite naturally. They start to strip the meaning out of things. They start to take what meaning they used to think it had and just strip it out. Okay? Some people go ham with this shit. Like people who can't acknowledge the authority of competence anymore, because the only competence they actually ever registered was just somebody telling them. They didn't know how to know things. They didn't know how to learn. They just kind of listened to people, and now they're revolting because they're mad. They think someone lied to them, but mostly it was because they were already ignorant themselves. Anyways, the natural response is to start to rebuild your idea of how meaning works. And so they strip the meaning out of everything else And they say things like the nihilism, right? Here's the nihilism part. Nothing has any meaning. Nothing matters. Nothing matters. That's the nihilism part, right? But this is why the nihilism is always a lie. Because what is you in all of that? You see, they don't strip the meaning out of the you. In fact, this is what happens. Because they don't know how to find meaning anywhere else, it all gets condensed into their idea of themselves. They don't know how the world works. It's just crazy. Other people, it's just crazy. Everything but me is just crazy. That's the narcissism. It's a result of the nihilism. But why do you have the nihilism? Because we don't have these questions and answers. Once again, you don't worry about how something works until it's broken and you got to figure out how to fix it. Our old cultures and traditions gave us the answers to these questions without having to explicate the questions or the answers. In stories, in narrative, in the old cosmological maps. See, some of the flat earthers will look at those old cosmological maps and think, and they'll confuse the map with the territory. They'll look at the old cosmological maps, confuse the map with the territory, and say, ha, look, they were telling us, they were showing us it's flat. That's because they don't understand how to read cosmological maps. As a matter of fact, they don't even understand what they're looking at is a map. Okay? So, this is why a cosmological model means anything at all. Okay? I'm going to give you a model that goes to the questions, answers them, because this is the thing. I gotta go to the page. Because most people don't understand the things they've been looking at are maps. Okay? They don't know them as maps. What they know is I know all the words on the Sephiroth. I know the names of them. I can repeat the names to you. They tell you the chakras or something in the body. Back to the atoms, right? Oh, it's a gland in your body. But get the fuck out of here. How are you this supreme thing that's trapped because of a sprinkle of calcium on a rice-sized piece of meat? It's not the answer. But bro, this is a map. And they've confused the map with the territory, which is why they'll tell you chakras are in the body. Okay? The tree of life is a map. The elements, the zodiac, these are maps. And people are confusing the maps with the territory. As a matter of fact, most people don't have a conception of the distinction between map and territory, and they're just all maps. Well, look, the old cosmological models were made for the people who lived with them. This is why there are no penguins in the Egyptian pantheon. It's not because penguins can't be divine. It's because that would not have fit to the people who lived there. That's why there's hippos and Nile crocodiles and fucking serpents. Because that's what was right around them. Not because those things are more divine. Look, there's a method to the madness and there's a lot of bullshit out there. So it's understandable that motherfuckers don't know what they're talking about. And then when you look at them, you can tell they don't know what they're talking about. And the whole thing looks ridiculous. I get it. There's a method to the madness. These are maps. What I'm giving with this cosmological model is most certainly not an end-all be-all. In fact, what I am making an effort to do is to give you the basic essentials of what a cosmological model is so you can go make your own. Show me the fuck up. Make some shit that's so slick I gotta sit my ass down and shut the fuck up. I welcome it. Okay, so when I'm showing you the cosmological model, I'm not showing you something you haven't already seen. What I am doing is informing you that it's a map and not the territory. Within the next natural question, and I'm so glad you asked it. Okay, well, if this is the map, here's the territory. Great question. Because you have to know. Otherwise, if you don't know and you think you know and you don't even know it's a map, you'll confuse the map with the territory. If these are the maps, if an entire pantheon is a map, what's the territory? You. Not your body. The user. The user and the user's world. From the perspective of the user, the entire world that the game avatar lives in can fit on the surface of a flat disk. That's why Earth is flat, not the planet. It's a cosmological model. It's a map. What's the territory? You, the user. These are, I'm not gonna stop saying it. I'm the cartographer of consciousness. This is what philosophers do. Metaphysics is philosophy. These are cosmological maps. What is the territory they are describing? You, the user, and the world of the user, the real world. Because then when you ask me something like, okay, what's true? What's real? These are philosophical questions. Physics can't answer that. I don't care how deep they dig. They do not have the ontological footing to tell you what something is. They can tell you how it behaves in other things that they've arbitrarily made based on measurement. What does it mean to measure? See, what philosophical questions. How much space is between my fingers? Infinite amount. Ask the physicists. They're not going to tell you what things are. They'll tell you how it behaves. You need the philosophers to tell you what it is. What's real? What's truth? Not because we're the only ones who have any authority to say it. Ask the physicists. They'll tell you they are tracking behavior. They're not telling you what it is. If you re-describe a cosmological map to me in cells, melanin, pineal glands, DNA, my nigga, you missed it. And you missed it by a long shot. All of that is the effect of the code. Cells, DNA, melanin, pineal glands, planets, galaxies. These are an emergent property of the code. You could probably say they're an emergent quality. I don't want to say that they're a quality or a property of the code, because I can look directly at the code and never see them. The same way that motherfuckers like to tell you your brain is what generates your thoughts, but I could look at every neuron on the planet and never see a thought. Just like I could look at all of the code for Skyrim and never see a wood elf. Where's my map? Where's the map? Where's the map? It's not in this one. It's in the shadow. I gotta put it in this one. See, this is part of the work I have to do. I have to organize my fucking books. Let me go back to the shadow one. Let me show you the map again. Let me show you the map again. Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? Okay. Game world with the avatar, right? That's this. That's this. Spirituality, the subject of that object is the user. Cells, melanin, quantum quizzical. If anything, look, this is as much as I'll give you about quantum, okay? If quantum is anything, maybe it's the space between the parabolas? I really want to debate that though. But this is the thing, nobody debates. How the fuck are we ever going to know? We just got to wait till somebody says it and then we all agree. Fuck you. Anyways, excuse me, I'm sorry. Cells, melanin, organisms, planets, quasars, galaxies, all of these are game world. All of those are a game world. And some people are interested in the console and the code. Most of what we experience of the game world is actually graphical user interfaces. The console has a GUI and the game has a GUI. Most people were just impressed to be able to tap into their own GUI in the game world. Oh my God, all these emotions, this is going crazy. If I could just pause everything. Meditation, deep breathing. There's more to it, kiddo. That's just a coping technique. A coping mechanism. Mechanism is the word I wanted. That's a coping technique. The user. That's the point. The user. That's the point. My fault. Hey, don't apologize now. Don't apologize now. Go into it. Go into it. I want to finish it. I want to talk about this. Okay. So we know. We're trying to answer these three questions, okay? We're trying to answer these questions. That's what we're going to be doing. Now, as far as talking to most of y'all, okay, anybody who's on a spiritual tip, usually I can get you to agree with two things. We can start our discussion with two things that you'll agree with, okay? One, I am not my physical body. You niggas will say it all day, right out the side of your neck. Cool, not going to tell you you're wrong. In fact, I'd agree with you. Two, the physical world at large is a hologram. You can say simulation. The dynamic we're pointing to is similar enough that I wouldn't tell you you're wrong, but we can fight about it. But we can agree on these 2 points. What I am isn't the body. No matter how many neurons you look at, you'll never see my thoughts, okay? No matter what you cut off, I'm still your boy, all right? Like, you're not the body, all right? You're just like, even if you're in a car and you get in an accident, you're not the car. You can get hurt from it, but you're not the car, okay? This is why I'm always asking, what is you? Because all these niggas love to tell me everything they do. I went to this astral realm and I talked to this deity and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, I'm like, cool. I'm not even going to argue with you. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. Let me ask you this, though. What is you? And nobody knows. Nihilistic narcissism. This is why you don't even know you have it. Because no one's looking at what the you is. If you ask them, they'll just invoke a word from a cosmological model that they don't actually know. They'll say ego, but you don't know about id, superego, or the entire medium upon which a model like that works. They'll invoke psychology right on top of materialism as if the two are synonymous. Psychology isn't neurology. Once again, I can usually get you to agree to these two. All right, this is where I start. This is where I want to start you where you're at. I want to let you know that what you're looking at is a map right from the jump. Who else is going to show you any of that spiritual shit and tell you it's a map and point to the territory? No one. Do you know why? They don't know, but it's okay. Daddy's home. Watch me do it, y'all. Watch me do it. It's so wonderful. All right. This is what I'm going to do. Hold on. I got to refill this water. Hold on. I'm thirsty. You know what? May as well take a break when I'm taking a break. All right. Here we go. Ugly ass nigga, right? That's your boy. It's me. It's okay. No, but if you're unfamiliar, this is Brandon. Okay, this is Brandon. Let me tell you about Brandon. Let me tell you how this works. Because I want you to relate to Brandon. I know he's ugly as hell and you think you look good. All right, cool, whatever. This is Brandon, okay? We started out with these two axioms here, okay? These are the initial axioms of the explication for the cosmological model, okay? This is where we're going to agree. And so I have symbols for that, okay? This is the physical body and this is the physical world at large. The avatar and the game world. Both of which we're saying are illusory. Now, when I say they're illusory, this does not mean they are not real. This does not mean they're fake. Okay? I'm not making that claim at all. That's not what illusion means. Illusion means it is not what it appears to be. It is not what it appears to be. What does that mean? It's fake? No. Pokemon. I can trade Pokemon with someone on the other side of the world. Is it not real? Just because you reduce it to code, does it make it not real? You reduce code to electrical circuitry firing. Okay, reduce electrical circuitry firing to the fluctuation between electrical flow and magnetic fields. Where are you gonna stop, infinite regress head ass? What makes something real? The particle configuration? No. What makes something real is how well it nests within your metaphysical presuppositions. What makes something real is how well it is nested in your metaphysical presuppositions. Okay? To a Christian, why is an angel real? Because it's nested within their metaphysical presuppositions. This is why I tell you, motherfuckers, even though you stop reading the Bible and you stop going to church, y'all are still Christian. You're just bad Christians. You're just denying your own cosmological model. You look, there are so many others. But your issue is, well, how do I know which one is real? That's a metaphysical question. Really ontological, to be honest, to be a little more specific. Your issue is you don't know what real means anymore. And that's what real means. It nests into the metaphysical presuppositions. There we go. Let me continue. I'm not the body, and the physical world at large is illusionary. Makes sense because the body is inextricably connected to the world around it. Okay, cool. All right, Brandon. You say you're not those things, okay? So then what the fuck does I am Brandon mean? Because this idea of Brandon is deeply, deeply rooted in these other things. Let's talk about it, okay? You'll hear people say go within, all right? Like I said, that has nothing to do with atoms, cells, vibrating anything, no energy. No, put it in trash. No energy. This isn't doing anything with your DNA. See, look, let's go back over here. Physical realm, DNA, energy, vibration, all that's over here. It's illusionary. All the physics in Mario are based on the code. They're emergent from the code. All of classical physics and basically quantum physics. You can't tell me it's not because you can't really tell me what it is. So look, it's there. I'm telling you. It's like, look, if the physical world is copper wire, the quantum world is the insulation on the wire. If the physical world were copper wiring, the quantum world is the insulation on the wiring. I called it. Continuing though. Look, all that stuff's behind you. Okay. you're telling me that's illusionary. Cool. Let's figure it out. Let's continue. What does it mean then to go within? If it's none of those things, if it's not the magnetosphere, if it's not the DNA, it's not the melanin, what does it mean to go within? Well, back to that original map. It was in the shadow work one, right? Dumbass. I'm such a dumbass. This one. Okay. Let's say we're talking about the red, right? We're at the red level. We're at the red parabola. Game world avatar. Starting from where you're at. What does it mean to go within? Because you can't go from red to blue. You're not connected on that plane. You got to go in this direction. Okay? The direction of infinity is, I don't want to say diametrically, because it's not necessarily diametrically opposed. I need a word for that. There's probably a word for that, but I'm not a mathematician. Look, okay, this is what I want to say. No, because that's not, because I'm gonna have to explain a whole bunch of other things. I have to do that all the way through. Go within is in that direction. When I showed you the video of the axes of the dodecahedron being compressed into infinity, the direction of go within, that's where you're looking. Okay, so the direction is not a physical thing. That's the big emphasis I want to make here. That the direction of go within is not a physical direction. Okay? It's not a physical direction. Okay. Go within is not forward, backward, up, or here. Luke 17:24. Luke 17:24. One of the few Bible verses I remember. Neither shall they say, lo here or lo there, for the kingdom of God is within. Neither shall they say, lo here or lo there, for the kingdom of God is within. Remember, the narrow path. Why is it narrow? Why is it narrow and so few are going to walk it? In Islam, they have the concept of jihad, right? But there's an internal and external jihad, a lesser and a greater jihad. The lesser jihad is the external. The internal is the greater. I'm not Muslim, so somebody who's Muslim could probably tell me better than that. Once again, not the end all be all. But look, man, we got a few things over here. Please come get some of it and do better than me. Because I'm a piece of shit. All right. So to really comprehend this distinction, I need you to understand the distinction between physical and non-physical. I need to zoom out a little bit. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. All right. Look. All right. To invoke the idea of some of you who love neurology, okay? You're interested in brain neurology. From what I've looked at, from scientists who study the brain's response to stimulus, so to speak, stimulus, because it's interesting. The brain has the same type of stimulus for an apple that you see out in the game world versus the apple that you would imagine. I'm using air quotes because I don't want to have to dive into the rabbit hole that there's there, but I am letting you know there is one we could take, and I'm more than happy to traverse it, just not on the path that we're going to right now. But yes. Stimulus. Anyways, the brain treats internal stimulus, imagined stimulus, and stimulus that are external the same way. Okay? So just for your brain nerds who like the brain stuff, there's that. What is the distinction between physical and non-physical? You'll hear people say, I'm leaving the physical world and I'm never coming back. Okay, cool, love it. You do you. How is your map? Because if you don't know the distinction between one and the other, how can you tell me when you've gone from one to the next? Or if you ever do. You got to have a distinction between the two, okay? So, an apple, a physical apple, how am I describing that? A physical apple is made of cells, molecules. It had to have come from a tree. That tree had to have come from a long line of trees that evolved out of things that weren't originally trees. Physical world apple, okay? This is why I say that the physical world is the appearance of a place. Like you boot up Skyrim. It's the appearance of a place. Nothing in there is what it appears to be. Let's take the apple, for example, okay? Hey, this is an apple. No, it's not. It's cells. Okay, well, I have some cells. No, you don't. Those are molecules. Oh, okay, well, these are molecules. No, they're atoms. You can take it all the way down to the quantum, or you can go the other way. Hey, look at this. I got an apple. No, you don't. That's a piece of the planet Earth. Oh, well, I got a piece of the planet Earth. No, you don't. That's a piece of the solar system. Oh, I got a piece of the solar system. No, you don't. It's a piece of the galaxy. Nothing in the physical world is its own thing. If they're all inextricably connected. Why? They're the appearance of a thing. They're the appearance of a place. Just like a video game. It's not to say to reject it. It's not to say to throw it out. It's to understand the nature of the thing. Okay? This is why Dorothy, even though she never left Kansas, took so long to go home. She didn't understand the nature of her predicament. And how she was continuing to agree to it. If what you are is the user, you're in the game because you sat down to play. It's not a prison. You show me a single game that's a prison beyond the fact that it's extremely immersive and fun. What is you? Okay, so that's a physical world apple. What is a non-physical apple? Okay, cool. I'm glad you asked. Very wonderful question. Imagine an apple. Okay, if you have trouble just imagining an apple with the visualization, imagine an apple on a counter on a sunny day in your grandmother's house. Context, right? That apple does not have to be made of cells. Does not have to have come from a tree. Hell, that apple might even talk. That is non-physical, okay? But you're telling me, go ahead, and I want you to tell me this, that your brain, that's just something that comes out of your brain. That's just something that I generated, right? Okay, cool. Show me where brains do that, because there's no consensus on that at all. There's no studies that are going to show you that the brain is causal in that relationship. That's what we're used to saying. That's popular culture. It's not accurate science at all. Even the physicists for the last 40 years, and quite publicly, will admit to you that space-time and all the symmetries of space-time, all these artifacts of space-time, are emergent properties of something else. They are not fundamentals to reality. If you're listening to somebody talk to you about spirituality and they're invoking melanin, that's not a fundamental of reality. There's no way everything is melanin. These people clearly don't understand what melanin is. It's not just skin coloring. Anything with a complex nervous system is going to have melanin. It's a component of complex nervous systems. It's not what makes you special. Your hair curl, that's not what makes you. The user. The user. You motherfuckers are bragging about cosmetics on your avatar and telling me this is what makes you the thing. Look at my 9 ether curl and my melanin. No. I got calcium off my pineal gland. What is that, a mod? The user. And when I say the user, I don't mean this monolithic singularity that's all everything. It's just, it don't have to be all that. Slow down. Because think about yourself. You're sitting in a game with all your save files. In your world, are you some monolithic? No! Stop making it all that. That's spookism again. Slow down. Start where you're at. The distinction between physical and non-physical. So if you're talking about any kind of particulate matter, you're talking about physical. And once again, not to say what you should or shouldn't do, what's good or bad. Those are childish things. Follow me. Follow me. Follow me. Okay, so the distinction between physical and non-physical. This is the basic methodology I'm going to give you. This is the map for the basic methodology. I don't care who you are, what you believe, why you believe, or how you believe. If you are answering those three questions, all of your methodology I can explain to you with this. Remember, we got the physical world, we have the physical body and the physical world. All right? Turning away from the physical world and into the non-physical world. Okay? We have things like personality and shadow. We'll get to those. These are just terms. Oh my God, these are just terms. Please. Look, remember, it's a map. If I show you a map and it has a little triangle that says mountain, that's not how it's going to look on the territory. And I gotta make sure I convey that. I gotta make sure I convey that. This is a map. It is not the territory. Okay? Whew! Now, to the degree to which you go from physical realm into non-physical, all right, which is equally flat, this purple here, what I'm doing with the map is I'm representing an additional shift in dimension. Okay, an additional shift in dimension. So think about it like this way. Follow me. Game avatar, game world. All right? Code console, user interfaces. The user. So these are two-dimensional shifts. The first dimensional shifts from the enclosed place of the appearance of the game world. One shift beyond the bounds of that space. A dimensional shift. Code, user interfaces, programming, console. An additional dimensional shift, turn. It's a turn, 90 degrees. Stop. It's a turn. It's a perpendicular movement. When you're looking at this, think about it as a flat plane. And this is an upward movement off the plane. Of course, I can't show it to you with a two-dimensional picture. This is why I use the color to help represent this. This is a two-dimensional, this is the upward movement off of that plane, okay? Boom. That's what we're looking at. All right. This is central to what spirituality is. If you're talking about, okay, what is spirituality? What is the work? The subject, the object of that subject is the user. What is the work? The object of that subject is the user. Everything you're going to see in purple is the class of the user. The blue, the class of code, user interfaces and consoles. The red, the generated appearance of place. Okay? The manifestation of all of it. All right? None of that's just spirituality though. Spirituality, the object of the subject is the user. Okay? It's that simple. You can drop all the fluff that everyone else needs. These are the basic fundamentals, okay? God, I love this. I just recently put this map together. And this is why I showed you the video of what it looks like to be trapped when the axes of the space or the medium upon which you live have been pulled back to infinity. The axes have been pulled back to, I don't want to say they have been pulled back because that invokes agency in some respect. I'm being metaphorical, okay? I'm being metaphorical. The axes of this larger shape are crossing over in infinity. Just like this crosses over, okay? Just like the infinity symbol crosses over. Excuse me. Anyways. Well, that's the shadow work. Let me go back to the cosmological model. I'm talking shit today. Excuse me, y'all. So, let's answer the questions. What is reality at large? That's the first question. We need to answer. If you were a Christian, what did I tell you? Oh, heaven, the world of man, humans, earth, and then hell at the bottom, okay? So you'll be quite familiar with what I got for you, okay? This is the cosmological model I'm presenting with you. That the lowest realm is the physical realm. This is the multiverse of singular universes. This is a multiverse of singular universes. Like I was talking about with the copper wire, okay? You have one strand of copper wire wrapped up into strands, and that strand is wrapped up into strands, and that strand is wrapped up into strands, and that strand is wrapped up into strands. It looks like a big fucking rope. You ever seen the Ouroboros, where the snake is eating its tail? Okay? It's likened to that. And like I said, the quantum is the insulation on the wire. That is the physical realm. If you're talking about the astral realm, which is invoking the Theosophical Society's cosmological order, it's going to be right there at the intersection, right where these two touch. That's your astral realm. All of this ain't astral. Like I'm saying, y'all got to get into the actual cosmology. You got to look at the source material. Anyways, all that's physical world. Okay. Every possible save file and playthrough. Every possible playthrough and save file. And not in specifically an individuated sense. Because think about it like this way. When you buy the game disc, we used to buy game discs. Damn, I'm old. When you buy the game disc, it comes with all potential playthroughs on it. It doesn't come with every single one of those as a save file, but all of them are potentially there. This is the difference between something being potential and actual, okay? It's not to say that in the potential the thing does not exist, but to the degree to which it exists in actuality is something different. It's unexpressed versus express. Excuse me. Anyways, you have the physical realm. You have the non-physical realm. This is usually what people will call something like spiritual, okay? For the most part, and this is a huge oversimplification, but it's the medium between primordial and physical, okay? And once again, when you're looking at this, it's not something you've never seen. In spiritual terms, it's not something you've never seen. You've seen this. You've seen it in many forms, but people don't usually tell you what you're looking at. They try to initiate you themselves. And I don't feel like initiating you into an old order. I don't feel like initiating you at all. Maybe I'll do it one of these days. But I'd rather you get the tools to know how to do it yourself. That's what I want. That's what the cosmological model is about. Is here are the basic tools to do it yourself, okay? So like I said, you've seen these things. This isn't something you've never seen before, okay? Please keep that in mind. This is not something you've never seen before. The relationship between these three densities of reality, these three general densities of infinity, each of which are infinite in their own right, all right, just like we saw, excuse me, just like we saw with this map, all right? Just like we saw with this map. But this is another way of looking at the same thing. Pete, this is the picture we have here below my cosmological map is a graph of a sphere and a cube nested together. Side note, I guess you'll say. A cube and a sphere or a circle and a square nest together perfectly at a ratio of 9:8. They nest together perfectly at a ratio of 9:8 and have 7 major focal points along that axis. We'll talk about that some other time when we get into the chakras and stuff. Because again, this stuff isn't about the body. This is me. This is the results of code. This is not. We're talking about the user's relationship to the world that it lives in and everything else that comes from that. When I say everything else that comes with that, part of that is the game world and the avatar. Okay? This is the relationship I'm talking about between these three densities of reality. What is reality at large? Christian would have said heaven, earth, and hell. Okay? I'm not simply changing the words. This is the build-up. But I want you to understand the dynamic between them. That's the appropriate thing, the dynamic. For the purple, the primordial. This is represented below as the empty space and the three axes. X, Y, Z. All right, the empty space is characterized by those three axes, okay? That is your primordial. That is your purple, okay? The empty space and three axes, all right? The circle is the blue part. That's your non-physical, okay? And the physical, which is the very end of the non-physical, is the cube, okay? All three are in the same place at the same time. There is no, look, there's nowhere in the video game that you can go where you're not the user. There's nowhere in the video game that you can go where you're not the user. So I don't have to teach you to do this 24/7. You're already doing it. You just got to stop identifying with the thing that comes and goes, which is the personality and shadow. But once again, that goes back into methodology and technique. I don't really care about methodology and technique unless, of course, you understand the ontology and the epistemology of the metaphysics. So this is the relationship between the three, okay? All right, and keep this one in mind as well. The inextricable connection between agent and atmosphere. The inextricable connection between agent and atmosphere, okay? And how these three are nested within each other, okay? Keep that in mind. Actually, you know what? I'll jump right into it. These three are nested together. What does that mean? That means that the center point of all three of these densities is in the same place. The center point of the empty space, as characterized by the X, Y, and Z axis, the center point of the cube, and the center point of the sphere are the same point. What is the self in context of that reality? So here's the cube. Put the sphere there and the empty space. What is the self in context of that reality at large? In context of that reality at large. So what am I asking? Where is the central point that is inextricably connected to the atmosphere itself? I'm so glad you asked. You know, you're a great student. Very intuitive. You know, I wish more students would ask questions like that. I love it. Thank you. I'm going to continue. I'm going to let you know. Same cosmological model. Here's the in context. Okay? Here's the in context. So, with the primordial realm as an atmosphere, as a density, an ocean has density. It's all the same water, okay? There's no line in the ocean, okay? Remember, you don't look for a line. Don't look for a rule. We're looking for categories and what constitutes the category. We're looking for categories and what constitutes the category. Slow down. Slow down. I'm telling you, it's about thinking about your thinking. There's no particle out there that does the thing, that is the thing. Anyways, if we're talking about the density or the atmosphere of the primordial, the point in the center is soul. That's the agent in the atmosphere. If we're talking about the non-physical as the atmosphere, the agent or the context is spirit. If we're talking about the physical world, the agent of the atmosphere is body. Okay? Now, mind you, this is the epistemology, and this is the ontology, okay? Ontology. What is there? What exists? What do we start with? Really, you can switch the names out. I have the names specifically for a reason. Technically, they're just names. The important part is the dynamic between the units that compose the unity. The dynamic between the units that compose the unity. The dynamic between the objects of the subject. See? It's really simple. It can all be so simple, guys. Anyways. So we have at large and in context, okay? But, like we said, that's only 2/3 of the story. That's only 2/3 of the story. We need the third one. We need the third one. What is the narrative or continuity between the two? What is the narrative or the continuity between the two, okay? This is the participation part. First you have at large, then in context, now you have participation, by participation, okay? This is where it makes the difference. All right, we talked about the difference between physical and non-physical. We talked about what it means to go within, the trans-dimensional nature of the direction that you would look in. Look. The direction in which you are already in. Dorothy never leaves Kansas, okay? The user. This is that same map, the practical map, okay? This is the methodological map, color-coded to correlate with the ontology and epistemology of the metaphysics, okay? Because look, if you're going to have methodology, everyone's always looking for practical methodology, but no one wants to question whether or not they comprehend the ontology and epistemology of the metaphysical cosmological map that they are using. No, everyone's right, but how do I do this? Shut up. Fuck. No, everyone's not right. There's a method to the madness. There are things that these spiritual rites, religions, cultures, and traditions were tracking. It's not just everyone's making up arbitrary everything. Fuck. Excuse me. You have your ontology. You have your epistemology. This is where you see the methodology. This is where we get into things like, okay, well, what is personality and shadow? Once again, we're talking about categories and not necessarily objective things. Okay? Shadow is quite literally shadow. When we're talking about the light of your awareness, let's say, okay, the I am. Remember, this is above the flat surface you're looking there. Remember, let me show you the arrow. The arrow, from that point up, that's what you're looking at with the I am. The light of your awareness. The light of your awareness. You have light and illumination, okay? Light produces illumination. All right, so here's the light shining down on your conception of yourself. Here's the light of your awareness shining down on the conception of yourself. Your conception of yourself is within the scope of your awareness, okay? It's really simple so far, okay? In terms of your conception of yourself, the part of it that is illuminated, if it's illuminated, that means it's in the light. The part of that conception of yourself that is illuminated, that is personality. The side of that conception of self that lacks illumination casts a shadow. Everything in the light casts a shadow. It is not something to be destroyed, overcome, gotten rid of. This is what people are looking for when they're looking for how to integrate their more unacceptable or unacknowledged aspects into the larger part of their personality, okay? This is what people call shadow work. This is what I'm telling you, and this goes back to what old boy said about side quests and NPCs. shadow work is a side quest. The main storyline is the user. It's this track right here. That's the main track. You pull up Skyrim, right? Oh, you're finally awake. On our way to get our head cut off. Slaying Alduin. Oh, you're finally awake. All the way to slaying Alduin at the end of the game. That's the main storyline. This in the blue, this is a side quest. Now you're going to get some crucial items. I think about it like this. Legends of Zelda, right? Legends of Zelda. All the way down here. You're starting in Kokiri Village. You know, all the little lost children, right? You start there. Here you're facing Ganon, fully equipped with all the new tools that you gained from these quests. See, this is why I didn't like to think just throw side quests out the door. Because to what degree are side quests even side? Who's to say the main quest is the only angle of approach? The main quest has one angle of approach. Now, there are some linear games that are very much like that. And if that's the cosmology that you're tracking, so be it. That's fine. We can argue about it. It's fine. Look, what I'm claiming is that there are not only infinitely many approaches to the end goal or the user, but that there are three fundamental angles of approach that one can take. This is what people are talking about when they invoke the idea of the left-hand, right-hand path, and middle path. For my particular methodology, I want to move away from the idea of left-hand, right-hand, and middle path, because right now most people don't comprehend what it is. They're tracking the aesthetic for the most part. The aesthetic of darkness is cool, and so they'll track that. And they're not actually looking at the meat of what we're talking about. So, the three fundamental angles of approach towards genius, towards this, or of genius, towards I am, excuse me. I gotta go back to the other set of slides. The three fundamental angles of approach. These are the three paths of ascension. Okay, you're talking about transcendence, if you're talking about self-deification, if you're talking about the realization of or ascendance to nirvana, things like that. There are so many different rites, rituals, and methodologies to describe this main quest. Remember, the object of this subject is the user. There are many rites, religions, orders, sects that will initiate you onto a path towards the user. What I'm saying is that there are three fundamental classes of this angle of approach. Okay? The path of the child, the path of the mother, and the path of the father. Okay? Those aren't part of the cosmological model proper, because they fall into methodology. But that's what I wanted to show you that so that when you're looking at this, you know that this one arrow represents at the very least three angles of approach to this point, okay? And yeah, look, this 90 degrees and then an additional 90 degrees. And once again, this one here, this image is being projected on 2 dimensions. So it has to be intuited. Okay, you have to intuit the dimensionality of the downward or upward spiral. Okay, you have to intuit I just showed you that on the path of ascension. Watch, look, right here. From one angle, it looks like going around in a circle. I mean, you are, but maybe it looks like this. And there's an additional angle or of dimensionality we can add to that, which is called the torus. It's for all intents and purposes a 4-dimensional sphere. Yeah. So like I said, the three fundamental angles of approach. Okay. You could categorize it as 4. Come up with a different model. That's fine. Okay. Not telling you what I would avoid having either 2 or one path, because those aren't sufficient to contain anything. Just like points and lines aren't sufficient to enclose the medium upon which they exist. A point and a line, unlike a triangle, cannot enclose empty space. But a triangle is the first time you can do that. So now you have a finite appearance, but it's infinitely divisible within. A finite exterior appearance it retains its infinite divisibility within itself. It can all be so simple, guys. It can all be so simple. All right. So I want to spend a lot of time talking about some of this stuff. I want to break it down to where it makes more sense. Okay. It's a cosmological model. Life is a video game. But I'm only going to agree with you on that if we're going to talk about the user. That's what I want to talk about. I don't even know if anyone was still in this bitch, bro. That's my show for today. I wanted to, because I'm going to be using this cosmological model to do all my explicating, okay? Because I want you to, you don't fit to Vedic spirituality. I mean, okay, look, the amount of work you're going to have to do to refit yourself to an entire different culture's operating system is ridiculous. You're already in one. It's like how redundant it is for people to ask, oh, hey, I guess I get all this stuff, but how do I get my manifestation to work? You're already manifest. How did that work? As a thing is bound, so it is unbound. But because you don't actually know, but you'd like to tell me you know, that's why you don't know how your manifestation works. Because you don't even know how you're manifest. All you know how to do is repeat fractured and fragmented copies of old puzzles. I don't care how many different puzzles you go around to and take a piece from. You're not going to be able to bring those together to make a model of one puzzle. It don't work that way. You can use all of those to inform your procedure in making your own model, but you can't use those to make a new model. You need an underlying framework. Hey, and the old ones are not good. The old ones aren't good because they're made for other people. They're not made for the people who live now here this way. 1,000 years, I could never make this analogy. I couldn't make a computer desktop analogy. I couldn't. Look, you want to talk about Avatar and Game World, right? Here, we can shift all this user interface right down here to Avatar and Game World, to where the avatar are like icons on your desktop. Okay? If I take that icon and I move it to the trash, what happens? It alters the code. It destroys the item. But if you just look at the code, you don't have that experience. So when I tell you dragging the icon to the trash can isn't what deletes the item, that's the appearance of it. That's the appearance. Behind that simple movement is lines and lines and lines of procedures and codes and intricacies. So much so that if you had to perceive it, you wouldn't perceive any action. It would just look like digital rain. Well, not look like digital rain, but that's as far as you could perceive. Because there's too much complexity for you to sort out the relevance in. It could all be so simple, bro. And I'm going to make this as plain as I possibly can. I'm going to water down how simple this can be so that anyone who wants to have a discussion about this in a contemporary time, from a contemporary perspective, without having to invoke the spookism that most people think is what comes with religion or spirituality, bruh, I'm making a way to talk about this. Religion had a utility. Yes, it was co-opted by various groups around history. We can have the history discussion. We really can. We can have it. I'm not talking about that. I get that. You're right about that. That's ridiculous. That's terrible. That's awful. Bad thing. Religion's utility. What is religion's utility? We talked about this. What is religion's utility? It answers these 3 questions. This is what your cultures and religions were for. I know they wanted to get your money. Because look. Tithing, right? Give back 10%. Give back 10%. What does that mean? Let me go to the map. Because you know this. You don't even realize you know this. What is 10% of the tree of life? Let's pretend like you don't see Daath right there, okay? Without Daath, there are 10 Sephiroth. All of the physical realm is in one of those 10. Out of the 10 spheres on the Sephiroth, because they divide theirs up into 10. I just go 3. Look, I can contain most of what they're talking about as details. I just want to give you the fundamentals, okay? Anyways, all of the physical realm is contained in 1 out of 10 Sephiroth. So, if Jesus says, give back 10%, and the rest is yours, give back 10%, and the rest is yours, it's not talking about your money. You give back this 10%. You let this go. You stop saying this is you. You stop in the world and of it. You stop all that playing human. You get the rest. You get the rest. You sitting here like a monkey with his hand in the jar, won't let go of the banana. And look, I'm sitting over there in the tree laughing at your dumb ass because I tricked you into holding the banana. Okay, I tricked you because I'm a dick. I'm sorry. That's not... I'm being facetious, anthropomorphic, and metaphorical. Excuse me, because I know sometimes people can't really handle that. Pardon. The nature of your predicament and how you are continuing to agree to it. The nature of your predicament and how you are continuing to agree to it. If you don't give the 10% back, you're like a monkey with his hand in a jar holding a banana, and he can't get his hand out, but he won't let go of the banana. You could have a whole tree. You're not climbing a tree with your hand like that. You can't. It's not because somebody else is stopping you. It's not because some Archon or Anunnaki is stopping you. It's you. What is you? This is why I always say the user. The user. Let go, give back 10%, and the rest is yours. All of the kingdom of heaven is open to you. But the motherfuckers don't want your money, your attention, and your devotion. Won't tell you that. I don't want you to hear some shit that makes you follow me. Only stick around as long as you need to get your ass out there. Fuck you mean. Fuck you mean. It's a big ass world. And you playing like you know is what's fucking you up. This has been Aries Bookman, the cartographer of consciousness, the Morpheus of metaphysics, the Duke of Darkness himself. Right now, our sessions are going on in the Gilded, which is why I'm doing the live show. Next episode, I'll probably talk about more about what we're doing in the sessions proper, I guess you could say. Things are coming around. If you actually even watched this long, we're going to have more. Good luck on your travels, y'all.